redo. So, this is the redo because I am technology declining, and I miss my producer because apparently I don't even know how to hit live anymore. And the link that was shared, that we all shared, is now no good. LinkedIn's notifications are phenomenal, so I'm sure it'll work out well.
Yeah.
And we'll just go with this. We wanted to have a real conversation tonight because me and Jen were talking about. Hi, Sid.
She's like, Sid's like, I want to have a real conversation.
Yeah.
It's a light, Sid. It's a light.
Oh, the ring light. That's right. She's like, this is new.
She's never seen it.
That's fancy now.
Yeah, I'm getting fancy. It's not by choice. It was kind of
He's a
forced
movie
upon me.
star.
Yeah, that's just what I am.
Why do you need that?
Why do I need a light?
Yeah.
Because it's dark.
Why?
Because it's dark.
We want to be able to
'Cause
see your
it's-
dad's green eyes.
That's
It's
right.
bedtime.
Why?
Because you're 3 years old and I'm telling you it's bedtime.
Why?
We're not gonna have this conversation. Oh, I'm gonna
Hi,
Sid.
Hi.
Here comes Sid. Oh, see? There you go, Sid.
Now that's the great way to start a live video.
I'm telling you.
That's perfect.
You're still talking to me, huh?
Yeah.
We're going to talk on Saturday.
Bedtime,
Maybe
Dada.
Phil will talk to me now.
Oh, that's
This is-
great.
No, Dada, talk to me. Oh, talk to bedtime.
It is dark during bedtime. It is bedtime.
What?
Go look out the window.
Oh, Dada.
That's a long walk? Okay. Oh, Dada? You're gonna stay right there the whole time? Okay, so stay
Sid,
right
will
there.
will you talk to me on Saturday, Sid? Will you have a conversation with me like this?
Do you want to talk to Red Cole on Saturday?
Yeah, and you can have the
Okay.
green light on and everything.
Okay, so me and Jen were talking today about about a vulnerability and transparency and why it's so difficult for men and women to have that with themselves and then with others.
Dad, what is?
Something that you put on this cushion of the couch. I don't know what it is yet. I haven't gotten around to cleaning yet.
Oh.
Anyway, so Jen, why don't you start out the conversation? And I'm going to throw it to you because I've got to figure out what this kid's doing.
Sure.
What is doing bedtime?
So part of what we had talked about, especially in workplaces and as we're looking at growth and development, is why as people we sometimes struggle with just being open about when we're not doing good or when we're struggling with something, to say, call for help, like throw me a lifeline. And one of the things that we had talked about is, in the situation I had been in, my opinion was, if I'm vulnerable, if I share that I'm struggling, I had this perceived, I thought that I would be thought as less than, or not as strong, or not capable of doing what I am really good at. And I think, unfortunately, it inadvertently holds us back, because then we actually have this thing literally holding us back just because we didn't deal with it. And how do we open up more conversations in workplaces and in relationships to just be open to say, this is how I'm struggling right now. Can you help?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I've felt the same way as you, Jen. I always was that girl that I wanted to be like the badass chick. Like I wanted the, people to be like, yeah, she's so tough. Like she's got her shit together. Like, you know what I mean? Like I liked having that reputation. So because of that, I'm like, well, I can't let anyone know that I'm actually struggling or that I need help, because I just thought like I wanted to keep that image up, because it means how much attention we get, especially as women, right?
Right.
And we hold it together like, wow, she's strong. Like that girl goes through a lot. And then as soon as you show that you're maybe a little bit more vulnerable, you think, oh no, yeah, they're going to think I'm weak.
Right.
And
they're going to think I'm just a girl.
Yeah.
And I can't handle it.
We're weak and we're just being women. Right. So yeah, I totally feel you on that one. I still struggle with that.
Same, but better. I mean, it's situations like this that I think just being in the conversation, that we all have it. We all have something, that barrier that we say, I'm struggling with this. And if we can somehow be more open about it and talk as more in community and more in employment relationships, or in relationships in whole, couples, whatever, I think we would work it through quicker and actually move forward easier.
Yeah, I think also a lot has to do with the fact that you don't want to feel like a burden to somebody else. That was another problem of mine. I'm like, I don't want to burden someone with my problems or my drama. But I always thought about, but I like when people come to me and ask for help. So why am I struggling with it if I love being the person to help and I like when they feel that they can open up to me? So I thought, okay, you know what? My friends probably are feeling the same way. If I would come to them, they would be thankful and respect me for trusting them to share that I am struggling. So then, yeah, I've kind of like flipped the roles, and that has helped me.
Right.
So, Jarvis, from a male's perspective, do you want to share first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I remember when I first put myself out there, and the feedback I was getting from females was, wow, it's great to see a guy being vulnerable. And I didn't really know what they were talking about. So just after doing some digging, I realized that you don't see too many strong, dominant males throwing themselves out there being vulnerable, because that's like, that's not, like everybody's saying, that's not what we wanted to do. I quickly realized that that's why a lot of people were gravitating towards me, because I don't mind putting myself out there just the way I am, flaws and all. Most of the time when you hear somebody say flaws and all, it comes from a female. But I feel like me looking the way I look, throwing myself out there gives other people the confidence to do the same thing.
Well, I mean, for me, right, like I spent most of my life pretending to be vulnerable. It was surface vulnerability. I didn't feel comfortable enough in my own skin to share my reality, right, and to go really deep on it. It's dead, so go plug it in. It's the best way to get it to work again is by charging it, I promise. So well, that didn't make her happy. So for me, as I've evolved over the last year, and I've really been going deep with it, and really being honest with myself, right, and being transparent with myself, and for me, that's the key. It took a lot of deep work. It took a lot of the Brene Brown blame, shame, and guilt, like Michelle mentioned. Until I did that, I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, right? I always did feel like a burden. My whole life I've been an extra sensitive person, right? And being a white male and, growing up in the 80s and 90s, it was like that wasn't necessarily accepted. But I, at some point, luckily drugs and alcohol also made me not care. So I was just being myself, at least to the best of my ability at the time. It's very interesting, that paradigm, right? Because women are scared to look weak, but men are scared to look weak also, right? And it's this whole, it's all the stigmas and the cultural norms that we fall into, and these weird twists and turns that we try to force ourselves through to fit into whatever box they want to throw us in. Now, granted, we're all in, rectangles right now. But the reality is, each one of us in our own way has come out of the boxes that they put us in. And we've all broken free of those stigmas, those norms, whether it was the abuse I went through, whether it was the addictions I've gone through. I share it. I have nothing to hide today. And one of my core values is blunt transparency, because I can't live without it. And it starts with me being fully transparent with myself and fully admitting to myself where I'm at and what I feel and what I need to feel. Um, it's such a deep, self-reflecting period of time for me, and I think we all have gone through that in our own way. But it's also forced me to be that way with others, and like Jara said, right? Like it's that I gravitate towards women because they empathize with me better because of how I relate, right? I relate from my vulnerable space. And it's difficult for men in today's society to find that feminine side, that feminine energy within them, and accept themselves with it. And I find that also to the opposite extreme, right? Like women sometimes have trouble sometimes with finding their masculine energy, right? We're all a yin and a yang, and we all have both sides. And I know many women that have a very masculine side, and They like the plumbing. They like the house things. They like working on cars. They like doing that stuff. I don't like any of it. I'll hire someone first, right? Like that's just me. Or duct tape's just the answer to everything. But like, yeah, you know, I mean, that's just me, and that's not who I am. You know, I'm mechanically declining, and obviously have tech issues too. So it's just one of those things where we all just have to be our unique selves, and we have to honor our unique individuality, because that's where the core is, right? We can't judge anyone by a look, a color, a race, a gender, a religion, right? Because at the core, we're all human, right? We're all human beings just trying to do the best we can every day. And unless we're willing to open ourselves up to that, whether it's in a friendship, a relationship, a family dynamic, like my 3-year-old coming out here and just wanting to be a part of everything, right? And then killing her tablet. It's just all these things that just, we just have to roll with it. We can't judge ourselves either.
I think an important part on that, Mike, that I've found throughout the years is, for me, my perceived was, when I did open up, the other person wasn't listening. And I think for me, at least, to me, it's all with me. I always built the stories. I think accountability for me is key. And then it's no one's fault, but ours, I think. But that's part of what for years closed me down, was because I thought, okay, I'm trying to open up. I'm trying to be vulnerable. You know, an example is, it petrified me for years going in front of groups. And I did sales trainings, like in front of large groups, and I was petrified before each one. And when I tried opening up, it was oh, you got this, you got it fine. But I would have panic attacks, and I was shut down for it. And to me, those are the moments that we have with anyone to say, okay, how can I help support you to get strong in this area? As opposed to shutting down the feeling and not acknowledging it, how can we as a humanity say, how can I help you strengthen in this area?
Yeah, I'm just like sitting here. I'm thinking about all these old patterns and things that I've done. And so just an example of being like the cool chick, or trying not to, be a burden. So when I first moved out to Northern Virginia from San Diego, I moved out here because of my ex-husband. So when I first moved out, I didn't know anybody, and we weren't married yet. We weren't even engaged. And I remember we were going to get engaged, and I was, thinking, oh, we don't need to spend money on a ring. So I was like, oh, don't worry about getting me a ring. He's like, you don't want an engagement? I'm like, no, like, I'm not that girl. Like, I don't, that's just whatever. Like, so I'm like, don't get me a ring. He's like, all right. So he wasn't going to get me a ring, because I was like, who wants to spend money on something that really, like, doesn't really matter? Come on. It's just an object that is trying to show off, like, look, So he wasn't going to get me the ring, and his family like freaked out. You have to get the ring. So we go buy it together. I write the check. So then that was like fully not romantic. So I had it. I wrote the check for it because I was already doing the finances. So then it came to the engagement part. Same thing. Don't worry about proposing or whatever. So he really didn't propose. Like, it was not even like anything. Okay. So then fast forward, it's time to go wedding dress shopping. I live in Virginia. My family's in California. I have no friends in this area yet. I go and buy my wedding dress by myself. Like, I mean, even the chick that was there, she's like, sweetie, you have nobody here with you? I was like, no, it's just me. And she's like, you could tell, like, the way she looked at me, I was like, okay, I guess this is probably not like normal, because you have the bridal parties, all this stuff. I'm like, no, it's just me. I'm like, listen, you have to be really honest with me, because I obviously don't have anyone telling me if I look good or not in a dress. So she helped me pick it out. Wedding shower, no wedding shower. Don't worry about it. So I wasn't given a wedding shower. I mean, no rehearsal. We didn't even go to honey. Like, I was so just like, no. Like, I didn't want to be perceived as like high maintenance or any of that stuff. Like, I wanted to be so easygoing for my husband that I like said, don't worry about anything. I didn't even have baby showers for my 2 kids. Cause yet again, don't worry about it. Really, Raquel? Really? I look back and I'm like, really? Wow, Raquel, like, you missed out on all these things because you were trying to put up this front that you were somebody that didn't need it. And I look back and just talking to you guys and I'm getting emotional because now I realize like that really sucks. Like I missed out on a lot of like very important milestone for a female, all because I wanted to have this certain image. And that's so stupid. Like now that I think about it, so effed up. Like calling my dad on the phone at the wedding shop. Hey, Dad, can you tell what's the credit card number? All right, let me fax you. My mom's like, can you fax me what the dress looks like? Like it it was the opposite of what it should be for a bride, like whatever. But yeah, so that just came up. So sorry, but talking about vulnerability and transparency, like those are feelings that I haven't felt in a really long time, and I haven't even thought about that. And just sitting here listening to you guys, I was like, damn. Oh, thanks, Christy. See, we're not alone. When we think we're alone and we have these experiences that nobody else has, like you realize that with 7.4 billion people in this world, there's going to be people that can relate to what you've experienced.
Yep.
Oh, okay. See, this is great. Thank you, ladies.
I think anytime we fall into this is what we're supposed to be or this is what we're supposed to do, it's over already.
Yeah.
Because that immediately means that we're conforming to whatever somebody else's projection upon us is. Accepting ourselves is the beginning of everything. And we can't even accept anyone else the way they are until we can accept ourselves, right? And nobody's going to accept us until wait, I don't even know what I just said. Sydney,
Accept
stop.
ourselves.
Right. Yeah. No, don't
Is she
disconnect
trying to
that.
drop the ring light?
No, she's trying to disconnect the ring light from the stand. I really thought I had this knocked down. She ate dinner, she had her sippy cup, she had the iPad. Did you plug in the iPad? Did you plug in the iPad?
Yeah.
Okay, go check it. And now she just went. You're a little drama queen.
Yeah, my son. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, so this is how this is gonna roll. That's okay. Sid makes an appearance in almost every live anyway, so except for the middle of the day ones. But I mean, Jairus, what other points do you have on this? Because your perspective is different than ours, right? In case nobody noticed, Jairus is black, so his is a little bit different.
Oh,
I don't know if anybody noticed.
Hold on.
Just a little bit.
Just
Okay,
it's.
I see it now. Sorry.
What I've come to realize is I am using this for my own benefit. And what I mean by that, I'm using the way I look, because when I first got on LinkedIn, I'm not going to say the guy's name. He was very polite to me. He said, man, we want to see more people like you. And he's like, don't get offended. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, I'm tired of seeing, older, gray-haired white guys. We need people like you. We need diversity. So that's one of my main reasons for me putting myself out there, because I'm on this mission to remind people that we are human beings first. Like you all said, it all starts with that. I think a lot of the issues that are going on in the world, that are going on within ourselves, is because we don't just stop and take accountability of self to just say, okay, I'm going to be responsible for my actions. When I something that has helped me, being self-aware, helps me to handle myself, my own emotions, and everything that I have going on, because I have a lot going on just because of the way I look, But I use that to benefit me. I don't say, well, because I'm a colored person, you're being racist, I can't get the job. No, I'm going to say, look, I'm a colored guy. If that's how you want to look at it, what can I do to show other people? Because my main thing is I want to show other people that look like me. Like, we can get on LinkedIn Live. We can have conversations with people around the world, and it don't have to be any tension at all. So that was me getting outside of my comfort zone. And I learned very quickly that I'm somebody I had anxiety like crazy. I was so scared, to, like you were, Kel, to do everything. You know, coming up, I wouldn't ask for seconds. I wouldn't speak to young ladies that I knew liked me. I was just terrified to do anything. So, me going on a journey to be self-aware, to understand who I am, going deeper than just my name, allowed me to understand that if I want change, I have to be that change. I have to get outside of that comfort zone, and it goes deeper than just that. Just from doing what we're doing now, putting out video content, communicating with strangers, maybe on Clubhouse now. And I realized one thing: the more I continue to step outside of my comfort zone, there are so many people watching and supporting me. I get DMs all the time. This one lady DM, and she said, "I don't want you to think I'm stalking you or anything." She said, "I never like any of your posts, but I support you. I've been following you since day one. And I don't even know who this person is." But it just showed me that we have to have these conversations, because there are so many people that just don't know to begin. And you will be surprised at the people that are watching this group of people that will say, you know what, I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone just because they're doing it.
Oh yeah, it's powerful. I mean, Jairus, like there are so many people that have reached out to me over the years that I've been on LinkedIn that say, please continue to do what you're doing. Like, I'm watching you, I'm seeing your journey, and they don't ever like or engage in any of my posts. So I appreciate that they actually reach out, because you don't know who you're reaching. That's the thing with social media. When you put it out there, like out there, you're like, I don't know who's catching it, who's looking at it. So I always love when people, take the time to tell me that they're paying attention. But you're right. Like, people really get inspired by other people stepping out of their comfort zone and being vulnerable. It really gives like that permission and space for others to do it. It's really powerful.
It's when, okay, so what I've realized is, and working with Stephen DeSade and a few other people that I know, what I've learned about myself is that through my vulnerable transparency, or transparent vulnerability, either order, it inspires others to be the same. And even if they're not willing to be it in public, they reach out directly, right? And it's a magical thing when somebody comes to you and says, I had no one that I could ever relate to, and I never felt comfortable enough in my own skin to go and speak to the world about it, but now I know I'm not alone, right? And it's so powerful. And these messages happen every day from all over the world, right? Because there are so many people trapped in their own heads. I mean, I'm still trapped in my own head most days, right? Like, I am.
We all are, dude.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I mean,
I'm kidding.
But it's one of those things where to be able to get those messages, it's just so it's like, not that I'm looking for outside validation at this point in my life, but what it does is it helps me create a stronger foundation for myself to keep pushing forward no matter what is going on.
It adds fuel to that fire. You're like, fire. It totally sparks it.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It really does. And like Jairus, when he's doing this, he's inspiring a whole race, right? A race of Black males, and there's stigmas there, obviously, and stereotypes, and I mean, people always said to me, they're like, "Wow, you look really scary," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm like a teddy bear, but that's okay." Like, I mean, I guess I'm scary. I mean, I don't see it and I never felt it. So you're intimidating. I would never think that you can have these conversations. I'm like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I spent half my life crying. So I don't know where you're coming from. Like, this is just me, right? Like, I'm just as broken as everyone else. And, I'm just trying to do the best I can for myself and show my kids that they can be whatever they need to be, right? Whatever they feel like they can be at the moment, right? And that's important. Because as I've gone through this evolution, I'm watching them heal as I heal. Maybe not Sid, because Sid's a little rough around the edges still. She's 3. But the other 2, they're getting closer. It's a journey, right? And we need to be able to find those common bonds, and we need to inspire others to just be themselves, because we're all enough and we're all perfect within ourselves. you know, and
I'm wearing my perfectly perfect sweatshirt on purpose.
there you go. There you go. And I'm just hiding from my kids. So like I'm about to move into a closet. I mean, it's just one of those things though, right? Like, you know, you just never know who you're going to reach or impact. Like you guys were saying, you just don't know. I mean, when I first said that I wanted to launch my podcast, I had a guy from India who's a professor reach out to me and say, I want to be on your show. He's like, I just published a new book and I want to talk about it. And I said, you could talk about the book, but I want to know, you know, we're going to go into the emotional side of the trauma and what you went through. And he's like, well, I said, that's what we're going to do if you want to be on the show. It's not, you know, this isn't just to get publicity. This isn't just to get your stuff out there. You know, I need you to be able to share what you've been through, how you overcame it. And that's how you got where you are today so that you can inspire somebody else to do the same. And when I told him about that, he said, you know what, I'm in. Pick a day, let me know. We'll find a time that works. And we're doing it. I think it's in, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It's going to be like 8 or 9 in the morning so that it's only like midnight there or something. But like, I mean, you know, Jarvis,
well, I have a couple people that I have in my network that just message me, and they don't ever, once again, engage on my posts. They don't really do anything. They're not visible. They're not very active, but they pay attention. And a lot of them, you know, I pretty much like kind of help them walk them off the ledge a lot, but they just need someone to listen and not to sound all, but the fact that, you know, I have a large network, I have a big following, I have a big presence, but these are people that think that like because of that, like I'm not going to ever respond to them or I'm not going to give them the time of day. And it's the opposite. Like when they reach out, I respond. And so if anything, it makes them even feel like, okay, wow, like someone's actually like paying attention to me or giving me the time and the energy. And absolutely, like, because I would want that for myself too. If I was reaching out to someone who might be someone that maybe like I would think that wouldn't respond, if they did, I'd be like, that's awesome. And so I even on purpose, like I make sure that even people that have one connection or whatever, like they should feel just as special as someone that is out there visible and doing all of this. Like that part of it shouldn't matter. Like I tell people, I'll be on a podcast if it's one person listening. I don't care. Like I don't ask somebody like, hey, how many downloads do you get? Or like how much of an audience? I could care less who the person is. Everybody that's asked me to be on a podcast, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it because if I can help one person, then that's all that matters.
That's right.
That's how I look at it. Just one person at a time.
Well, here's the good news. I can assure you that none of your networks know that this conversation's happening now because I screwed up the first go around.
Which is fine. Like, once again, I don't do this for like, ooh, how many people are going to pay attention or who we're going to watch. Like, I'm doing it for myself too. Like, I'm selfish. This is like therapy for me. Talking to the three of you, like, this for me is fulfilling.
It's very cathartic doing this. It is. And knowing that we're doing it live and it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to say the wrong thing because it's still going to resonate with us being real, right? And that's the thing, right? Like when we start getting focused on being too perfect, we start losing why we're doing it. And it gets scary.
Yeah.
Mike, you just said something that resonated with me is what
I
is
do that
the
every
wrong...
once in a while.
You totally do. What is the wrong thing really? You know, we focus on saying the wrong thing, but what is the wrong thing? Because it's all perspective, right? And who's to say that one person's perspective that one person may consider wrong, the other person could be considering very right. And it's just different. We just have different perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just ironic that you mentioned that word perspective. I was on Clubhouse talking about that word, and I'm somebody through networking for years now, I realize that's what we all have in common. We all have a perspective.
That's right.
And the beautiful thing is, it's the gray area what everybody worries about. Let's don't worry about the gray area. I just understand my perspective. I understand your perspective. Now, I may not agree on how you choose to date, how you choose to live, but guess what? At the end of the day, I was not raised how you was raised. I didn't have the same background, the same upbringing, or the same experiences, but we do have to respect each other's perspectives. Now, my thing is, as long as you ain't doing nothing morally wrong, I can't judge nobody. You know, if you choose to do this and that, as long as you're not hurting me, not hurting yourself, I could care less. And I'm so glad, Jen, that you mentioned that point. As human beings, this is what I like about what I'm doing now. That's all I'm doing. I'm just giving out hope and inspiration based on my truth, based on my story. Because I didn't know until I started to put myself out there that people are looking for guys just like us and girls like us to say, hey, look, if Jerris, Michael, Raquel, Jen, if they're saying their truth, guess what? I don't want to be scared either. I got something to say too. And it happens just like that.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's the thing is our perspective, our paradigm is based on our childhood, most of our experiences. So, and everybody has a different experience. You have to respect that they're coming from their paradigm, their world, their reality. You know what I mean? So that's why I don't understand when everyone's like, no, you're wrong. You're right. You know, to see it this way. They really can't see it that way. You know what I mean? Like, and so, perspective, there's no right or wrong on it. You're right. You're right on that.
That was good. Love that.
It's tough though, right? Like, I mean, it's tough to separate ourselves from a circumstance or a situation and being able to see a different perspective, right? Like any type of relationship, interaction, friendship, familyship, you know, whatever it is, there's some type of emotions involved. And when the emotions get involved, like it's very difficult to see the other side, right? We only want to see our side, right? And there's so many times that sometimes I give too much credit and sometimes I don't give enough, right? And sometimes I over extend myself to the other extreme because I want to make sure I see the perspective and I lose myself, my own perspective. Like and maybe it's because I'm so empathic and maybe it's because of all the other things that I am that make me unique. That, you know, at the same time, just I'm always trying to overcompensate and sometimes I just don't know where I fit in, right? And I feel like I'm okay not fitting in anywhere. But when I start fitting into specific areas, I get uncomfortable. And I don't know if that's because I don't want to fit in somewhere specific or if it's just I'm not used to fitting in somewhere specific. So I kind of bounce around a lot and I associate with a bunch of different types of people and I have different groups in my life and different people in my life. And, you know, I've really been doing a lot of self-analyzing and self-work on that lately to try and figure out why I don't want to fit in anymore. Because for me, it's always been easier to not fit in. Because the minute I fit in, then I have to commit to being in that group and being associated in that area. And that makes me very uncomfortable because then I'm taking on what other people do in that affiliation.
Oh my God, you just said everything that I've been feeling and thinking just recently too. Because
I probably just read your mind.
maybe I don't know.
My
I
gifts.
was just like, dude, that's exactly like what I've been like thinking too. I'm like, why do I always feel like I have to go against the grain? Or why as soon as I feel like I'm part of the masses, like, no, like, you know, it freaks me out. Like I cannot feel like I'm conforming to something. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Oh, Bill's in the house.
Hey, Bill, he found us.
Yay!
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So, Mike, maybe you and I have to have like a discussion, and maybe we can brainstorm and figure out why do we feel that way? What is it about that like it scares us?
Well, we never talk, so that shouldn't be an issue. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I really don't know what it is for me, right? Maybe it's because as a kid, I never fit in anywhere. I always felt different, even in my own family, and I never felt like I fit in there. So maybe it's just easier for me to not fit in somewhere. Oh, there's Nancy. Hey, Nancy.
See, I think it's like opposite for me, as I was such a perfect kid, and I was like, and you know, I had the bow in the hair. My mom, I had saddle shoes, dresses, like just, you know, I had to be like the angel. That I think because I conformed so much, I think that's where I'm just like, no, do not put me in a freaking box again, or do not like label me, or do not keep me all nice and pretty. Like I don't want that anymore. So I'm wondering, like maybe we're coming at it from different perspectives.
I'm pretty sure I was never once in my life called a perfect kid. I'm pretty sure that
I was.
I went out of my way to be the black sheep of the family, right? Like I went out of my way to be the complete underachiever.
Well, I was the white, because I was the opposite See, but
Yes.
I say that I was the white sheep, and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, because I stood out because I had an eccentric, narcissistic family, very artistic, and I could just didn't conform, and so they used to make fun of me. Oh, it's Mrs. Francis Parker coming along. Like, oh, look, rule follower. And she said she's going to get us in trouble. Like all that stuff. And then see, Nancy, you should see your closet. Yes, I'm very OCD in that way. Yeah, super OCD. But yeah, so for me, it was like, yeah. So okay, Mike, you and I.
We're the same type of crazy.
Yeah.
What about you guys? I mean, how do you feel? Do you look to fit in somewhere, or do you guys look not to fit in somewhere?
Now that I am vibrating at a higher level now, I don't try to fit in because I don't tolerate foolishness now. I just don't. It's like, all right, that's foolishness. I can't even be around it. I've also noticed something about myself. My energy is so positive now that if I come around some people whose energy is not positive, I've been noticing like we can't even sit around each other. It's like they have to go or I have to go. So I'm getting comfortable being by myself. Now, what I do like is I'm starting to run across individuals like this group and other people who have the same interests and who are, I guess, vibrating at a high level. So we're kind of sticking. But overall, no, I'm not trying to fit in anymore.
We can be all from I call it like being in the land of the misfits, or from Rudolph or is it Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer? Remember, there's the island of the misfit, the land of the misfits, where it's the dog and all the toys that weren't good, that weren't perfect, and got basically rejected. They go to the island of the misfits. I always joke around how like I feel like I'm on the island of the misfits.
Didn't do that.
On the island.
And this one's been my biggest dichotomy through the decades, because I've been that person who has always stood out and never wanted to conform, but then internally like, ooh, you got to be careful. You're going to offend somebody. And it's interesting. The older I get, the more that I just stay focused on just being me and being that standout person to say, here's me, it's what you get. So, and it's so much more comfortable just being you, just being the person, whether you want to conform, fantastic, if that's who you want to be. But if you don't, be true to yourself. And I think that ties right to that vulnerability piece is, for years, and it took me a long time to be able to say this, for years, I would come from a standpoint of what I thought people wanted to hear. And that's a dangerous place to be in, because not only are you not being true to yourself, but how do you really know what someone wants you to say? So
it's interesting, right? There's so many pieces to unlayer here. And for me, it was always back to a lack of worth, a lack of self-confidence, tremendous amount of insecurities. And I just didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. And quite literally, I didn't look at myself in the mirror. I used to shower in the dark because I didn't want to see myself. Like, I mean, I literally went to extremes to not have to see myself. Because I couldn't live with myself for how I was living my life. I was nowhere near my core values. I didn't even understand what they were. And I always felt like I was against myself. And the inner work is so important, right? It's such a dark, shitty road, but it is so worth doing it to get to that side where you actually start seeing light. Now, I don't know if I'm ever going to be done doing work. I really believe that you are always evolving until the day the day I'm done is the day I'm dead, right? So, and as long as there's still a Dunkin' Donuts drive-through for their, concession, then we're good. That was always my plan, right? And then to be buried upside down in a casket with a fart machine, and every time somebody walked up, have it go off. But anyway, I'm just nuts, right? So, but like to me, these are the things that I think about all night, right? Like, where was I 6 months ago, and where am I today, and all that work. Like, I mean, I squeezed 10 years of work into 8 months because I was just so sick of being me. I was so sick of what I thought I was, because it wasn't being true to myself in any way, shape, or form. And I was always just trying to just exist. Like, I don't think be is the right word, but I just wanted to exist. I wanted to go under the radar. I never wanted to be noticed. I never wanted to stand out. I never wanted to do anything. I always tried to hide in the crowd. And it never worked because, eventually somehow my soul would shine through, my abilities would come out, and I'd draw a crowd, and it was just horrible. I hated it because, I went out of my way to try and just shut it all down. And at the end of the day, it made me more miserable than anything else, And today, my worst days today, no matter how bad they are, if it's a day that I cry 20 out of 24 hours, it is so much better than my best day even a year ago. Like, it's not even a comparison. I would take the misery today over the best days I had a year ago, because at least now I know who I am, and that's powerful, right? And I know where I want to go, and I'm secure in who I am, while getting there better than I was. And it's a work in progress, and it's, I'm comfortable sharing that with the world because I think other people need to see the struggle. Other people need to understand that just because we can come online and we can put a 30-second video and it sounds perfect and it sounds like we're having a great day, doesn't mean that as soon as that video goes off, we're not going right back to crying in the corner, right? Like, doesn't mean that, it's a great day. I mean, my live Saturday, I pretty much almost cried the whole damn episode. Like, because I was just going through an enormous healing process live on air, which wasn't my plan, but it seemed to work out that way. And it was just, there's something to be said for just being real and just being yourself, no matter what it is. But the key is you have to accept yourself first. And that's the hard part. To me, more than what anyone else thinks about me, it's accepting myself. Can I drop a mic?
Well, that's
And how do we help people do that? That's the question I always ponder, is how do we help people really get there?
To me, it's showing them the truth, showing them the bad moments, like real bad moments, not I'm having a crappy day, my hair's not in the right place. Not that I have to worry about the hair, but not like I'm having a bad day, my hair's in the wrong place, but like, go talk about crying, talk about the icky crap, talk about, I'm really in a bad way today and I'm really miserable today, but I also know I'm going to be okay. And it's okay to feel like this right now. It's okay to go on live with your eyes watering the whole time as a male sitting in the corner because you just have nothing to say because you're just processing.
Yeah.
It's okay to just be you wherever you're at the moment. I think that's a big part of this. It is by being an example of just being you. And it's just so difficult to find. It really is.
Well, I think also a lot of it too is, let's say, you do get online and you do a video and you are crying or you're really, in that ugly moment. A lot of people feel really uncomfortable seeing that too, right? So it's not, it's like, they're like, no, what was that? Like TMI, like, oh my gosh, like, what is this person doing? Like, I can't believe that they're just sharing that. And so I think that's the unfortunate part too, is that you get a lot of those people that are so insecure with themselves and haven't been able to really accept who they are, that they can't take on what you're trying to share. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of us experience that. So that's why we're like, well, I don't want to be so open because I don't want that type of reaction from others. I personally don't care because I've done that before. I mean, I've done a video from my bed at 2 a.m. like, I just had an anxiety attack. It was like right before COVID. I think I'd like 1 a.m. in my bed, and I was just talking about how I just had a panic anxiety attack because it all hit me about like what was going on with COVID and things were shutting down. And I'm the type of person where I will post it in the moment. I'm all about posting in the moment. So I posted. I didn't wait till the next morning because I was going to get better views. I was like, screw it. Whoever's up at 1 a.m, like, so be it. And there were plenty of people that were up, by the way. But yeah, I was just like, hey, I want to share it. And then the next day, I didn't apologize for the video. Actually, I said, hey, I want to thank all of you who, saw my video. I was having a moment. Yes, I come across as very happy-go-lucky all the time, but I have my time too. And I wanted to share that with all of you because I wanted to show you that I too have my moments and it's okay. But the fact that I kind of had to explain myself the next day just goes to show you still how I felt like, oh gosh, what I do. Because I think we're all still conditioned in a certain way.
Right.
Well, I've hit a point where I just don't care, right? Like if you want to delete me. I don't care, right? There's another, 6.75 billion people out there that somebody will, I promise you.
Oh,
And, I've talked about it many times with my YouTube, half of it's me crying, part of it's me being okay, and part of it's me being happy, right? Like I just share it, whatever it is. And it's the real journey. It's the real struggle. And if you can't handle real, then I really don't need you around me, to be honest, because this world's shit and this world needs to change. And the only way it's going to change is by more people getting real.
Yeah.
I'm not in this for vanity. I'm not in this for a popularity contest. I'm not in this for, to make people feel okay for themselves. That's another thing that I'm really strong on right now. I'm okay with myself. I'm good with myself. I love myself. And you know what? If you aren't comfortable with who I am, it's very easy to delete me. But maybe you need to look in the mirror because it probably means that you're not comfortable with you, right? That you're not feeling comfortable. And Carl says hi. Everybody loves Carl.
Oh, it's
What's
Carl.
up, Carl?
Hey.
How you doing, Carl?
Oh, he's awesome.
Carl, I don't know if I'm preaching, but I'm definitely just talking a lot. I mean, I have a lot to say, but
But doesn't it feel liberating though? Like there's something, I think that's why I do a lot of what I do, because I tell people like, if other people can feel this liberated and, by being able to do a video with absolutely no makeup on. I did a video with I had just gotten in the shower. I didn't even brush my hair, no makeup, but I had something to say. And I got on there, no filter, no nothing. And I remember when I posted it, there was something so like, I felt like there was like this ethereal feeling of like, I just literally put myself out there in the most unfiltered possible way. Like I couldn't get any more real or any more unfiltered in that moment. And the fact that it felt so good to just be like, this is me and let's see what happens. I was like, everybody deserves to feel this way. They really do, to be in that state of just like euphoria.
But the key to all this is being transparent with ourselves, right? And doing that work to being honest and transparent with yourself. Because if you can't be that honest and transparent with yourself, then you're never going to be able to be that with anyone else.
Yeah, but it's a journey. Like you said, I'm going to be 46. It took me many decades to get to this point.
Yes.
I was so insecure. Oh my gosh, like the worst.
And I still am at times. I still am. I mean, but I also just go live and say I am. I mean, that's the difference between me now and a year ago, right? Like my videos a year ago, yeah, I was vulnerable. Yeah, it was real, but I wasn't fully transparent because I wasn't being honest with myself either, right? It was driven by guilt. It was driven by a lower vibration because I wasn't in a place that I am today. I just wasn't here, and I didn't know any better at the time. Or maybe I did and I just didn't want to do the work. That's possible too. I was pretty lazy. I didn't want to go through the crap. I didn't want to do that work, right? I didn't want to push through. I kind of was okay with just mediocrity and just floating through.
Because it's work. It's hard. It's difficult.
That's right.
That's why most people don't do it, because it is work.
Yes.
But the
It
reward,
is.
It's the muscle. It's
Yeah.
the building the muscle. It's the showing up. Mike knows, Raquel Jarvis, I don't think that you know this, but video for me has been a work in progress. Like it is my petrified moment. It is my, oh my gosh, I'm live on video right now with some amazing people. And it's been a muscle. Like it's been going live in my groups daily to build that muscle. And that's, Mike, to your point, people don't understand. Like it's not easy to do it day one. But by day 15 and day 30 and day 45, then you've built it so strong that if you say something that you think is dumb later, well, it's not that big of a deal. So,
Yeah.
and it's keeping going, right? Like when you think you're there, and then it's continuing to build on that strength of where, however far you already thought you were.
I don't think there is a there. I'm
Yeah.
really starting to believe there is no there anymore. Like
I'll
I've been
agree with
looking
that.
I've been looking for this magic there since I started going through this hell. And it's like,
This
every
there.
right, like every time I almost think I'm there, it's like here's a new layer of hell. Wow.
Okay.
Even
Oh,
even Dante's Inferno was wrong, right? Like I mean, they only listed so many. Like it's crazy though, because but what I did notice is, like Jen said, the muscle part, right? And just because as I go deeper through things, it gets a little harder, but I'm also stronger. And I also have more confidence. I also know I'm more resilient, and I know I'm going to get through it.
Yeah.
So it's all about building that side of it up at the same time. And there's fear in the beginning, and there's always a little bit of fear, but you just push through it.
Mm-hmm.
You the minute that you push through the fear, it becomes a strength,
Right.
right?
Right.
I mean, Jarvis, what was it like when you started doing videos?
man, just like y'all, I was super terrified, and it just bothered me because I knew I had a voice. I'm so confident when it comes to doing other things. I love communicating. I love talking. I love public speaking. I can remember being in high school, college. I was the first one. Hey, let me get up here and talk just to work on that craft, just to get over my nervousness.
Nice.
And my friends for years now, y'all, would tell me, hey, in order for you to get to there, like you're trying to say, Mike, do some videos. And they would tell me every day, you need to go live, do videos. Not me. I'm not doing no, I'm going to type up this written post and do some written content. I didn't even want to do podcasts. But what finally helped me was I was recording videos and to myself, and I wouldn't put them out there. And I'm like, no, this ain't right. So one time I did this whole video. I got it wrote down perfect. So I got the camera set up. I got the piece of paper behind the camera. So I'm reading out the script, and I got it perfect. And I uploaded it to LinkedIn. And everybody was liking. I mean, post went viral, trending on LinkedIn. I was like, wow, they like the video. So I go back to look at the video, and I was just too terrified to look at it. And guess what I did? I didn't even upload the video. I uploaded a selfie of me. So I'm thinking they're looking at the video. Now they're like, man, nice. But I'm like, wow. So from that moment on, I said, you know what? In order for you to do what you were destined to do, to know my purpose, I knew I had to get myself out, and I just did it. And I'll be honest with y'all. I started putting out videos maybe 3 years ago. Up until this point, maybe 6 months ago, can I now look at the videos that I'm putting out? Before, no. I didn't want to see it, set it up, sit it out. I don't even want to replay. Now I understand. I forget who mentioned it. This is for me. I get behind that camera to build my confidence, to help me to deal with my insecurities and to build up my strength. A lot of times, this is my own therapy now. So that's why I know I have to put out videos, because I can look at the camera and feel my confidence and my energy radiating off. And I understand now I have got an audience now. There are people who are mad at me now because I haven't posted on LinkedIn in a week. And they're like, hey, where you at? We need these videos. So understanding that I have created a need just for my drive, my passion, and my confidence. That's all people really want from me, the inspiration. Now, they like the marketing, but nobody really, when I talk about marketing, they don't want to hear that. When I get up here and share a story or how I'm feeling or just putting myself out there, I know like people like, yes, I needed that from you, because I looked at you, Mike, when you did a video and you gave me confidence, and Paula Goodman did a post today, and I just was like, you know what? I needed to see that. So for me, I let that be my driving factor of knowing there's somebody, like you said, Raquel, even if it's just one person that can get the message and feel better about themselves, I have to continue to push. But still to this day, it's not easy. Now, I got better. I'm on one take it now. I don't want to do no more than 2 takes. But back in the day, no.
Yeah, but it's I bet you it made you realize like how many people actually want to see vulnerability on a platform like LinkedIn, because that was something that, you know, I've been on LinkedIn for almost 8 years now. And I was like thinking, oh, you got to be professional. You got to do this. You got to do that. And it wasn't until I started kind of showing really who I was that people started being able to connect and resonate with me. Well, a game changer for me was almost 2 years ago on LinkedIn. It was Mental Health Awareness Month. One of my colleagues, who's the president of CEO actually of a mortgage company, he and I are friends, and we know that we both have struggled and so forth. So he had done a video of like, hey, it's Mental Health Awareness Month. As leaders, we need to kind of, you know, help change the narrative and break the stigma. And when I saw that, I was like, darn it, you know what? Like that, he's talking to me, someone like me too, where there's a certain persona that people see me as. And I'm kind of a leader now. People are listening to what I have to say. So I remember I grabbed my camera and I was like, this is going to be a one taker because I'm speaking from the heart. And I just pressed record. 6 minutes. I shared this story to LinkedIn about the fact that I had suffered from clinical depression in college and that I attempted suicide. And I shared the entire story, and I'd never shared it before. Not many people even knew about that because, once again, stigma, shame, you know, because I'm not that person anymore. And I didn't want people to label me as like, oh, she must be crazy still, or, oh, she's a depressed one.
Yep.
Well,
I just never.
you're still a little crazy. You're still a little crazy.
Yeah, I know it.
You're a little
You're
crazy.
cool. Don't listen to him.
That's right.
I love you. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way, but you're a little crazy.
I didn't want people to like automatically assume label me because of it. So I never spoke about it. And I used to tell people, oh, they're like, oh my gosh, you graduated from UCLA. I'm like, no, I didn't graduate. For medical reasons, I didn't graduate. You know, when I didn't say like, actually, it's because I tried to take my life and I had to go home. So anyways, I posted and I had an anxiety attack as soon as I posted it because I was like, what did I just do? I just shared something really personal and I shared it on LinkedIn, like not on Facebook or Instagram, on LinkedIn. I can't tell you automatically the phone calls, the texts, the messages, people going nuts in a good way. Thank you for being so brave. Oh my gosh, that's so strong of you. I had no idea. So many, I had no idea. I had no idea. Thank you so much. I too have suffered. I did not receive one single negative comment, not one single negative nothing. And I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought like it was probably going to backfire and people were going to be like, ooh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And so if anything, in that moment, I was like, damn, people want vulnerability. Like they want to hear your struggles. And so it just added fuel to the fire. And ever since I'm like, well, there's no going back now. So now I'm a huge, advocate for mental health. And I talk about it all the time. But yeah, in that moment, I was just like, wow. Like we should be talking about these things once again, like who's the LinkedIn police that's telling us that we need to be a certain? I'm always like, because I was at a conference and some woman goes, well, LinkedIn, you're not. I go, who on LinkedIn? Who what person or what LinkedIn police or the law? Is there a LinkedIn law that's telling you that you can't say that or you can't post that? She's like, no, but isn't it known? I'm like, well, then let's change that. Like,
right.
Yeah, but it's funny how many people think that there's like a LinkedIn law or LinkedIn police out there, like telling us how we're supposed to use this platform. I'm like, no.
I mean, I still won't watch my videos. I don't do more than one take. I don't script anything. I just upload and just turn the screen off. I don't even look. I don't even want to know. I type out the copy first, and then I put the video up, and I just upload and walk away. I still can't do that. I still can't watch my videos because I'm so hypercritical of myself that I'm a perfectionist in a lot of ways, and I'll be like, oh, I said this wrong, I said that wrong. So I just don't give myself that temptation to criticize myself. I mean, I didn't start going live until June of last year, and now I'm live almost every damn day. It's like crazy. Like, I mean, I didn't
live all the time. Like,
I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah, like it's crazy.
Like, I gotta go. I'm about to get on a live.
Yeah, like
just on a live.
Yeah, I mean, this is my second one of the day, right? So like, but it's nuts because how far we come in a short period of time, and it feels like it's forever. It really does, because when we start making milestones for ourselves and our confidence starts building, we almost forget how short of a period of time it was that we started breaking through those walls. I mean, Jen, what was it, a month ago? Not even, like 3 weeks ago, your first live?
Yeah. Well,
And then,
I was, and that's the thing is I was on my first podcast probably 4 months ago. You guys, I can't watch it at all. Like I can see the fear that I had in that podcast. And then Mike had me on his podcast. And actually just in the last 3 weeks, I can watch any video I do. Like it's been a complete flip. And a cool one, you know, because before, like, to Mike's point, like I couldn't watch my videos. I wanted nothing to do. And I have a YouTube channel that has videos up and I can't even watch my own videos. But it's been a really cool, and I have to attest so much of it to the community that has supported me. I mean, the community that
it's called the community.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, it is.
community. It's family.
It is, you know, all of us supporting each other to say, okay, you got this. Like, let's all do it together. And if we can build that community for more people, it's just going to empower all of us.
So am I the only person that watches my videos and actually laughs at myself? Like I
Yes.
laugh at me. Like I make
Yes.
myself laugh. Is that
Yes.
weird?
Not weird. I love it.
Okay,
No,
no, I
it's-
legit will like laugh out loud when I'm
But it's you, but that's who you are, right? Like, I mean, that's who you are at your finest. You
Oh,
appreciate
yeah.
everything and you just enjoy it. I mean, that's, you know, I wish I was more like that sometimes. I really do. Like, sometimes I take everything too seriously,
Yeah.
right? And I just can't be that loose or let it that go.
Oh, look at Darren. You've helped
I
him.
guess,
He said you're leading by example. It's helped him open up on LinkedIn. The business and relationships have been amazing. See,
you're welcome.
you're making a difference.
And the reality is I'm just being me, right? Like for the first time in my life, I'm actually being me and I'm comfortable being me. And I think that's really a big point of this is just be you,
Yeah.
because the reality is you will be accepted for who you are.
And the
Like-
people that accept you are the people that you really actually want in your life. Like that's what I
Okay.
found too, is like as soon as I was really true to who I was, then I was attracting the same type of people. And it's like such different people that, and like at a different caliber and a different level where I was like, this is really cool. Like these are the type of people that I was attracting, like the scum of the earth, excuse me, but you know, like the negative, what is it? Energy vampires, like really toxic people. But for whatever reason, I just wasn't comfortable with myself and happy with myself. So that's what I was
You
attracting.
want something to
And
eat?
now I'm like,
What do you
I'm
want?
like, these are some
What have
rad
good oranges?
people in my life. I'm just being me, and then it gives me that confidence too. Because I'm like, if I'm attracting these really cool people, then I
You want
must.
to go in the refrigerator?
Right.
Go get Michelle.
I'm like, you know what? And so then, yeah, like gives you that level of confidence.
Agreed.
All right, guys, carry on. I'll be right back. Oh.
Oh. So, Jairus, what do you do when you talk about marketing? Like nobody wants to hear it. What do you do?
Well, what I realize is it's not saying nobody wants to hear it. It's just I'm known for putting out positivity and inspiring other people, right? So I get a lot of business just based on the fact of, hey, you're such a good person, you're so really cool. But I just show people marketing is my thing, you know, because I understand that what we're doing now, we're marketing each other. You know, I've learned from you just your personality, both of y'all's personality. You know, I can just tell you're just a cool, just like you said, cool, outgoing person, right? So I have figured out a fun way to incorporate that into marketing, but it goes deeper because it's more personal development. So if I can get you to understand who you are, understand the direction that you're trying to take your business or your brand, because that's who you're representing. You know, when people see me, when they hear a real one-on-one consultant, when they see the hashtag thinkers at work, it's already associated previously for something already in a good way. And I just like to have fun with it. That's all.
Yeah, because we were connected for a little bit, so I've seen your name, and I think you've engaged in a couple things that I've engaged with. So, like, I've definitely seen your name. I just hadn't. This is, I think, Jen, right? This is the first time too that you're interacting with him. So I was really excited because, you know, it has, you know, relationships start somewhere,
Right. Right. And I met Michael just like that. I mean, I didn't know him, and he just reached out to me. We started talking. He introduced me to some of his friends. He called me tonight and say, "Look, I got the show." I said, "Let's do it." So the beautiful thing about me, I realized that networking is my passion. I love meeting people. You know, the internet has it now where you can meet people worldwide. You can have beautiful meetings like this, and you can unlock hidden opportunities or hidden knowledge and just figuring out, okay, I didn't know this about you. I didn't know that about you. Oh, you do marketing? Yeah, I do marketing. It just always turns into something. From my experience now, I can say, but like in the last year, I haven't had any bad experiences meeting people on social media, offline. All mine's been good experiences.
Me too.
Same.
Yeah, I think really if you put yourself out there in a certain way, like you're not gonna get like everyone's like, Raquel, like how do you deal with haters or all that? I'm like, I really don't ever get anything negative or anything because I think I put it out there like, hey, like I'm not gonna tolerate that. Like I'm here for positivity, like I'm here to have people, you know what I mean? Like don't even bother putting that on my stuff. And I don't get that because of it, I think. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I've also had just such a positive experience with all of this.
As have I. And it's really opened up, Doris, I think that you mentioned the point is just being able to find your type of community. I mean, even just being able to get on LinkedIn or Facebook or the reach that we all now have to attract people who are like us.
Mm-hmm.
And after the same goals, we're after the same, making the same mission out of what we're doing.
It brings, it just the hope back into humanity. Like it just makes me realize, like, you know what, we're not as bad off as people are saying we are, because if there are all these people that I'm meeting that are amazing, incredible human beings that are making an amazing impact and are doing good things, like we're going to be okay. And if as a collective, we can like help each other, like we can, elevate the consciousness and vibration, like all of that. We can do that. And I'm like, we're all coming out of the woodwork. I feel like COVID did that for a lot of us. For a lot of people that are really vulnerable, transparent, real. It's like all the people that were, doing the whole, like, look, I'm in front of this fancy car, or I'm in front of this hotel, or I'm on this vacation. When COVID hit, like you couldn't pretend that you were at somewhere because we all knew that you were stuck at home. Like no one was going anywhere in March, right? Or like the Zoom calls. If you didn't have like one of those virtual backgrounds, we could see your crappy ass apartment that you really had when you like, you know what I mean? Or like when here you're trying to show that you have this like amazing house. So I think it was like all the people that were really used to doing the filters and editing and being fake, they're the ones that are like being pushed aside. It's all of us that are coming through because people also were like, we don't want to see that. Like, that's not what reality is right now. And people are suffering. And like, people just had this more sensitive to that. And that's what I've noticed with COVID. It's like, it's definitely brought a different level of people out into the open that were maybe hiding because they felt like all these people were, hogging the spotlight.
But I also think there's another level of that. And I think that it created a duplicity in imposter syndrome, because I think it created people to overcompensate about being vulnerable without doing work to become vulnerable. And then now what they're doing is they don't know where they are. They don't know who they are. And now they're kind of just floating around trying to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah, or they're like they're missing. They've gone missing.
Well, I mean, but it's a deeper hole, right? Because they went from one extreme to I'm super professional to I'm super vulnerable to wait, I can't keep doing this because I'm not, right? So now they're just floating around in no person's land because they don't know how to handle where they're at. And there's a deepness to this that I think people are missing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that are slipping through the cracks right now because they're scared to be themselves, and they don't even know who they are, right? And that's part of the issue. And again, nobody wants to do the work, and I get it. I mean, I put it off for 40 something years, so I get it, right? Well, 40 years. Well, I guess I couldn't have done anything at 0, but anyway, sure, I would have tried. The underachiever in me. But like, it's like, I feel like there's got to be a point where everybody just is who they are. And it really has to come back to that. There's no shame, there's no blame, there's no guilting. There's no, oh, you're not this person. Oh, you're not that person. Oh, this is you. Nice to finally meet you, right? Like it's
You made
just
a mistake. Okay, well,
right.
or like, oh wow,
That's
you
right.
messed up or you failed. Okay.
Seriously, I mean, it's 8:45. My 3-year-old's still up. Like, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I can't change it. I mean, it's not like people don't see her popping in the screen anyway. I mean, I can say she's sleeping, but she's going to show up behind me in minutes. So what's the difference? You know, it's nothing's perfect. Nothing is. And, you know, there is not going to be the old norm ever coming back. It's going to be a new norm of some capacity. And no one knows what that is yet because we've still got a little road on this, a little ways to go. And where we end up, you know, it's really up to us. And having these conversations, having the right people around us, bringing these conversations to the forefront, you know, that's what makes this happen. You know, the four of us being willing to sit down and have this conversation literally last minute, you know, and then me going live and canceling and then having to go live again, right? Because I couldn't hear anybody.
And maybe
You know, I mean,
say the F word.
yeah, and maybe even, yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know if to go look. I mean, it's all there somewhere. I mean, it's somewhere in cyberspace. I mean, but this is just a reality we live in. This, you know, nothing's perfect. Nothing's great. Nothing's amazing. But you know what? We can be the best we are. We can always be our best self at that moment for that day.
Yeah.
Even the bad ones. You know, I don't regret what I did this weekend. I don't regret being miserable and sad and crying a lot and going through my crap. I don't, you know, it's who I am. I'm being real. Like, this is the stuff we go through.
It's practicing grace, you know.
That's right.
I think that's the thing too, is that we guilt ourselves too so much. Like, I don't feel guilty anymore if I'm in the bed all day long, because I have my moments every once in a while where I just don't want to get out of bed, and I don't, and I stay in bed, and I love to dream, so I'll sleep and I'll have like these awesome vivid dreams, and I'm kind of like taken to another place, and sometimes I just need that, and I honor it, and I'm like, all right, for whatever reason my body just wants to stay here and that's okay. I'm like, tomorrow's a new day, and usually the next day I wake up early in the morning and get my and then I'm like, that was yesterday.
That's right.
It's done. It happened, and it's okay.
Well, if somebody wants to come babysit for a day, I'll see if that works. I don't really have that option currently, but it would be nice to sleep for a day. It really would be at this point. I think I'm about 9 months overdue. But you know, we could just be ourselves, and that's, I think that's what I'm driving home here, because I've said it probably 40 times. But
well, you know, subliminally, everyone they'll listen.
maybe you know, one person will hear this, right? Or if they can find the live stream, because you know, it's not where it was supposed to be.
Yeah, but you know, you had a good amount of people show up.
Yep.
People want to hear it.
Hardcore fans.
Yes, we got the hardcore
Now
followers.
you know who your groupies are.
Ha, Gabe, we took your time slot.
Yeah,
Christine.
the hashtag Team Michael.
There we go. We took Gabe's time slot.
Oh, that's right. He's on at 8:30.
Yeah. Oh,
there's so many freaking lives. I'm sorry, but there's so many in a little time.
Can't keep up. There's only 24 hours in a day.
I know. I'm always like, I try to support. I really like to be, you know, out there supporting. But that's the thing too, is I have to set boundaries for myself, because you know, it can be overwhelming. And then once again, you start compromising who you are. And then you're trying to then you're the people pleaser. And then you're like, but I want to see people to be upset with me. So I want to get on there. And I've learned to be like, you know what? Sometimes I don't want to be on my freaking computer at night. Like, I want to be Netflixing and chilling, you know, like, sorry, I need that for my mental well-being. So I've been better about that too, because that was getting a little bit too much.
Well, that's the self-care part, right? Like, that's the self-compassion, self-care, you know, giving ourselves, like you said, grace, and just being able to be okay with not being everything for everyone.
Yeah.
Right? We can only be everything for ourselves. And once that becomes enough for ourselves, only then can we be stuff for other people.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I took off all my notifications on my phone, except for texts and calls, because that was another thing too. Like, You know, if I don't respond to someone's notification or someone's tag right away, it's okay.
It is.
I'm not a bad person.
That always freaks me out. Like my OCD gets nuts over that.
Well,
Oh, somebody
mine does
messaged me.
too.
Yeah. It's
I hate having like any emails open or any like no. I literally like, when I go to bed, I make sure everything's cleaned up, and I delete all my text at night too. That's how OCD I am. I don't have any threads, so like when people are like, "Oh, I looked back," I'm like, I have nothing to look back at.
good night, Bill.
Clean slate.
Bill's going to bed.
Fireplace. Oh, good night, Bill. It was good. He's so sweet.
Well, I think
you get a notification. Well, just to get an idea of like people's perception, right? And so I had done a post about the fact that I had silenced all my notifications, and I put it on LinkedIn, and I was like, you know, all y'all can wait. You know, like it's gonna be on my terms now when I get on social media. He's so sweet. He had texted Michael Ray and was like, "Hey, I just saw her post. Like, is she okay?" And so Michael FaceTimes me and he's like, "Hey, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, like I'm actually fantastic." But people automatically like assume if you're turning those things off or you're like something's going on, right? Like, no, nothing's going on. I'm just like trying to just
taking care of yourself.
Yeah, take care of myself.
That's right.
How people suddenly think that something's wrong.
It's hard to allow ourselves to do that, right? Mm-hmm. Because we always want to be readily available. We always want to be there for somebody. We always want to try and not let anyone down. And what we do is we burn ourselves out. And we really do. And I don't remember what month it was, but I took like almost 2 months off of LinkedIn, which in 14 years I've never done. Like every day. I mean, I literally did not go on for anything. I didn't post. I didn't comment. Like I answered DMs. That was about it. Like, I just didn't want to deal. I needed a break. It was just too much. Like, at some point when you're getting pulled in a million directions, it's just too much. And you deserve it for yourself.
Oh.
Is Jarvis going to say anything? Hi, Jenny. Love you, Jenny.
I know. I noticed he was quiet, too, and I talk a lot. But, yeah, so I'm going to...
No, I'm just somebody who likes to talk, but I'm also learning to become this big listener. Learning how to soak in and just learn how to play my role, because now everywhere I go, I become a speaker. So everybody wants me to talk and wants me to speak. You know, I can't even go in a room in Clubhouse and just listen without they saying, "Hey, come to the stage." So now I've just really learned to just be a listener, because I don't have to say nothing all the time. I know I'm going to add value, but I'm learning how to add value just by listening. Therefore, when somebody says something, he was listening. Yeah, and I just want to be that piece. But I'm enjoying all of y'all. Y'all are so cool. This is so fun.
This is like the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah.
If I had the theme song, that's what I would play as we exit. It's amateur.
See, we're the land of the misfit toys. Yeah,
That's it. That's it. We should do this once a week. We really should. This is hysterical.
Yeah. Please set it up once a week, please.
Yep.
You know I'm in.
So
I'd be in.
Share the link. Thank you, Mike. I shared the link. I drafted up.
That didn't work. I'm telling you, perfect.
I shared my kids. I told my son, "Hey, get ready to check this."
Oh my gosh!
Oh, no.
How old are your kids?
My son is 8, my daughter's 6, but they're so just like Michael's children. They're so I don't have them with me now, but they'll be the same way. That's why he and I clicked so much, because I was just like, he was like, "Man, let's have a meeting." I'm like, "All right." His kids running around, my kids running around, and it was so perfect. And now what I'm learning is I don't have to put on this front. I can be myself. I'm at home, you know. I might not even have pants on right now, but it's okay. And
I've got my PJs and my
I'm wearing sweatpants.
And I'm braless and everything. You're lucky I have makeup on. It's only because I was on a podcast early. Otherwise, I'd have zero makeup on. Hey.
But I truly think that it begins with us, because we can have fun being like, and I know a lot of people that would kill to be able to get out of their comfort zone and to be able to just have. I never would have thought that I would be this person behind the camera. my brother's right here listening. He tell me all the time, man, put out that fun side. So now that's when I do podcasts and interviews, I rarely say anything about marketing, about my company. I'm just here to have fun, and I get business just because, hey, you didn't even try to sell me nothing. Hey, here's a donation. Thank you so much.
Well, that's how I get business too. I don't really talk about my personal branding. Like Jen didn't really know about when we were talking because I really don't talk about it. Like, but people reach out to me because they see how I am and they want to work with me because they want to have their brand be them. And so they're like, well, if this is some chick that is herself, then she's going to be able to help me to just be myself and be out there in that type of way. But I love it because when people come to me, they already know what they're getting. I don't have to sit there and explain like who I am. There's a reason why they came to me.
Exactly. Right.
So just like with you, Charis, like if you're you and they come to you because they want to work with you, it's great. Like sold, right? Like you don't have to like convince them. You already did with your personality, and that's what they gravitated towards.
Yeah.
Right.
Being the art of being ourselves, and then the people who are naturally drawn to us. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is the best way.
It's true.
It is.
Yeah.
Maybe we will do this weekly. Why not? This is
Why
kind of
not?
entertaining.
We should.
Oh my God, there's plenty that we can talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously. It really is. We'll send Raquel Omaha steaks for holidays.
I don't eat meat anymore.
I know.
My
but I figured
my aunt, rest in peace, she used to send me Omaha steaks. I mean, I used to eat meat when she used to send me Omaha steaks. So when you just said that, I was like, oh.
all the good memories here.
Yeah, all the good memories.
All right, guys. Now I'm going to end it for real. So this is actually going to hit the right button.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Sorry, I was like reading the last comment, and I'm like sitting here, and I'm so used to having a producer now. I'm used to having a producer now. It's not my fault.